Guys, Mercury retrograde inbound. Yes, on the night of the 25th of February, Mercury will station retrograde in the sign of Pisces. So, this is a sign that deals with our intuition and that connects everyone together in this cosmic, boundless ocean of depth and unconditional love and oneness. And it is a really, really sensitive sign. And of course, Mercury likes the facts, but Pisces is not so much about that. So we can actually feel a little bit exhausted. We already know that Mercury is known for causing misconversations or like having a lot of miscommunications or misunderstandings. It's not the best time for signing contracts, and definitely not with it's in the sign of Pisces, this sign where we can all feel a little bit lost in space with our head in the clouds. And Mercury is going to keep its retrograde motion until the 20th of March. And on the 20th of March, it turns back direct. So that happens on the real New Year, on the equinox, on the kickoff of Aries season. So it's quite interesting that that's baked into the equinox chart. And of course, I'm going to look at that during my workshop for Aries season, because this is not going to be in normal Aries season at all. So right now we're seeing a whole buildup of planets in the sign of Pisces. We see a stellium, which means that there are 3 or 4 or more planets within one sign. That is a lot of energy of one and the same sign, you guys. And Mercury is going to make some pretty interesting aspects during this retrograde motion, because it will first conjunct with the Sun. So we're going to see Mercury Cazimi. After that, we're seeing it conjuncting with Mars. That is going to be quite wild, honestly. And then when it switches back direct on the 20th of March, it will do that on the North Node, which is, of course, also still in Pisces. So you guys, this is going to be pretty interesting Mercury retrograde. And we also know that all the Mercury retrogrades this year are going to happen in water signs. So that makes it way more emotionally attuned. It is really about communicating, Mercury, about our feelings, the water signs. And we all already know that not a lot of us are well, or like are capable about really articulating our feelings and emotions. So that can cause a little bit of exhausting feelings, because it will be harder to really put them into words. And like I'm born with the Mercury in the sign of Pisces, and that will go retrograde over my own Mercury. And I always feel like the depth of my emotions is like there are not enough words in the dictionary to really name them or like speak about them. It's like I'm lost for words sometimes, because yeah, it's just like this intuitive depth and intuition and emotion, and Pisces, that is like about the unseen realms and about spirituality. But let's not forget that Mercury is actually in fall in Pisces. So it's not going to operate very well here for the next couple of weeks. And on top of that, we're also seeing a lunar eclipse happening in the sign of Virgo. That is going to happen on the 3rd of March. And Mercury is opposing that. And Mercury is also the ruler of the Virgo lunar eclipse. So we're seeing this Mercury retrograde that is actually getting eclipsed because of the full moon lunar eclipse that is about to happen. That makes it so much more interesting. And honestly, I feel that this is going to be one of the more easier Mercury retrogrades, because we know that Mercury is the messenger of the gods, and now it's operating in Pisces, the sign of the unseen realms. But we also know that Uranus, actually, Mercury and Uranus are kind of connected to one another. Mercury is the messenger of the gods, but it's about facts and information and what's proven. When it's in Pisces, it's about like everything that's not being proven, or that is not what we cannot witness. So it makes it a little bit harder. That's why it's in fall. But Uranus is like also about higher liberation and thoughts. And it's also the messenger, but like in a more frequency-based kind of way. And we also know that this is going to be the last Mercury retrograde before Uranus jumps over into the sign of Gemini. And which planet belongs to Gemini? That is, of course, Mercury. So this will be the last Mercury retrograde where it's not going to dispose it back to Uranus in Gemini. That is going to get even way more interesting. But of course, I'm going to talk more about that later. But definitely, this one is also going to put a very big emphasis on our savior complexes, and on lies, and on deceit, and on spiritual bypassing. That is all part of Pisces as well. So a lot of liars are going to get exposed rather massively. And we know in the spiritual community, there are a lot of people who do not really practice what they preach. And with Saturn and Neptune now out of Pisces, it's going to be very interesting retrograde to see what is about to get exposed. Because, of course, Mercury deals with our documents and phone calls and texts and files and all of that. So, yeah, I know that's already been a very big topic over the last couple of weeks. But definitely, we're going to see leaks. We're going to see whistleblowers. We're going to see truth getting exposed. And it's possible to create some confusion, honestly. Definitely around the 15th of March, when it's going to conjunct with Mars, also in Pisces, then that might be a rather difficult time in regards to news headlines, because, of course, Mercury also deals with our news and like our media. So another big topic will be, of course, the fact that Pisces also rules over global things, and Mercury rules over trade. So global trade is about to get a very, very big reassessment now in the next couple of weeks. And we can see a lot of changes. And of course, Pisces deals with oceanic themes and things crossing over borders. And Pisces is borderless. It knows no limits. It is like very ethereal. It is about the flow of life, but also now the flow of goods. And we're going to see some things going on with like shipping lanes and how everything flows over borders. That is also going to be a very, very important topic. So welcome back to my channel. My name is Astrid. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And let's get into today's presentation. So Mercury retrograde. Here we have the exact dates. And of course, for the US, Mercury is already going to station retrograde at night during the 25th. And then for other parts of the world, and especially also Europe, it's going to kick off at the 26th of February. So Mercury has already been in its shadow zone, its pre-shadow, and it's been doing that since February the 11th. So it's going to turn back direct on the 20th of March, but the post-shadow phase is going to last until April 9th. So definitely from the 26th until the 20th of March, not the best time to sign important contracts. It is really more about reassessing, reviewing, double-checking the facts and all of the information before we really launch or sign or buy anything in regards to our technological advices. That is also where Mercury rules over. So yeah, if you need to launch something major, it's best to wait actually until the middle of April, but best wait until the end of March if that's possible. So the lower manifestations, and I'm going to talk a bit more about that. Then the higher manifestation, because Mercury, it is in fall in Pisces. It belongs to its opposite sign of Virgo. So yeah, it just doesn't like to be in Pisces. But on the positive side, it is good for like telepathic communication and all of that, but not so much for like, yeah, looking at the facts and the information. And yeah, it is taking us like straight into the fog. Our collective brains are all gonna be a little bit more mystical, clouded. On the positive side, we can look behind the veil more easily, as it's like being, yeah, it's getting thinner. So the truth can get a little bit distorted, and not because we're like consciously lying, But Pisces, it rules over illusion and projection and escapism and denial and really like editing reality a bit so it can feel safer for us inside. So when Mercury moves backwards, it is closer to Earth. That is why we are getting so much more Mercury energy, and that is when things can get a little bit haywire. We know that it's like famous for having these weird technological issues, and I've been honestly having a lot of that lately. Through bookings, through like appointments, through like time zones, through like daylight saving times that is about to switch as well. And it is just a time when we can feel a little bit more confused. So, guys, if you've booked a reading with me for the next month, really double check your time zone, double check your daylight savings time, because I already know I'm gonna have to deal with a lot of that. So thank you very much. But in Pisces, Mercury's logic, it is being weakened, but the intuition is getting amplified. So the mind gets a little bit confused, but we need to rely on our intuition because our body knows even without words right now. So it's about energetic awareness, and that is being amplified. But unfortunately, the lower manifestations are self-deception and spiritual bypassing, playing the victim, avoiding reality, and also like rewriting your own script in a better way to like avoid accountability. And that is something where we need to be a little bit careful for right now. Release your grief, your guilt, your anger, and really focus on the truth. On a more collective way, propaganda is going to be such a big thing. We have Saturn, Neptune that are conjunct right now at 0 degrees of Aries. I think it's already shifting over to 1 degree soon. But yeah, it is really about massive collective confusion. And Saturn with Neptune of course is the ruler of Pisces, so they are connected here, the Mercury retrograde, because Neptune is now in Aries conjunct Saturn. Saturn is our government, people who have authority over us within our personal lives, but also like on the world stage, and they can really do their very, very best to try to install some false narratives upon all of us. And we're gonna have to really use a lot of discernment in the next couple of weeks, because the lies and the spiritual bypassing, it's going to be like off the charts. It's going to be like unreal. A lot of people who are already a little bit confused with all the news that is about to come out, it's going to really like make a lot of people's heads spin. So really like detach from like the major news cycles and the major news headlines, definitely around the 15th when it's going to conjunct with Mars. So whatever is going to try to be installed upon us in the next couple of weeks, it's going to trigger like mass emotional reactions, and we can feel like we are going to watch a movie. And I know you guys, you've been watching the movie for so many years and you're kind of tired of it. So am I, but still we are living in this weird matrix where they're just like trying to mess with our minds. Let's just say it like this. Mercury retrograde is also going to like reveal a lot of the lies that already existed, because Mercury, it looks back at the past. It's going to bring up a lot of old conversations, information, storylines, and now we're going to be able to look at them in a different way because our consciousness is shifting. There can be like contradictions being brought up, and that really tells us that we need to like look at the facts, at the information. Things might not be adding up. Documents are going to be revised. People are going to be changing their story, and a lot of missing, because Pisces, I don't know, like if you have Pisces planets, you're probably going to know, but Pisces, it gets lost. It loses everything, their phone, their wallet. With my Pisces stellium, sometimes I ask my boyfriend, like, where is this? And then he's just like, just grabbing it in the middle of the table, and he's like, here you go, here's your phone. I'm like, oh my god. It is like one of my yeah, negative traits, honestly. I have very a lot of difficulties in like finding my belongings. I need to be very, very structured and like keeping things in the same place so I can find them back. Otherwise it's like lost in space, and that is really a collective energy what we're all now tapping into. So but Pisces, because it's rules over things that are lost, when Mercury goes retrograde and goes back to the past, it can bring up lost information, and it's going to put it on the table, and it's going to be like, oh, well, here, that is like the missing link. And I personally am a Virgo rising, so Mercury is my chart ruler, a very important planet for me. But I found that each and every time there's a Mercury retrograde happening, that there's some kind of missing piece or some kind of solution being offered or found back. And it's always been actually rather positive for me. I don't know if that's because I'm a Virgo rising, but like in this whole pop astrology, people are really like trying to install fear on everyone whenever there's a Mercury retrograde. And I want to like strongly highlight, do not give your power away to it, because it is just how I look at it, an ample of time being given to us by the universe to really reassess and review over things. And yes, you can like lose emails, or you can have a misunderstanding, and these technical devices can be a really big pain in the ass. That is true, I'm not going to deny that, and that can cause frustration, but still, do not fear it. It's only Mercury retrograde, and we see that happening 3 times each year. So, but because it's in water signs, it's going to be way more intuitive. It's asking us to really move from like this blind belief to more discernment. And a lot of people feel like this must be the entire full truth, but does it actually align with reality? Probably not. And then with the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo, that is going to be such a truth filter. Virgo is about the facts. It is about what's proven. It is about analyzing, being structural, and all of this is like also going to show us where we gave a lot of our authority away to like the systems and the experts and all of the narratives and trying to be perfect, and perfectionism is a very big theme of Virgo. And now Pisces is going to dissolve all of the illusions where all these systems were built on. So yeah, on a personal level, it's going to confront us with the lies that we tell towards ourselves. A lot of people are always thinking like, well, this just happened, but okay, well, I feel fine, and I don't need it, and I'll deal with it later, and that didn't really hurt me. And inside, your soul is just like dying. And it's going to become way more obvious where spiritual bypassing and like the distortion of truth, which impact it has on our collective field of unified emotions and feelings, and how that's actually creating so much confusion and exhaustion within like the whole collective unconsciousness. And something is being like processed, and it's also dealing with like our astral bodies, because Pisces rules over our dreams and our sleep cycles. So we can have a lot of synchronicities now in our dreams, and a lot of messages coming through. Like our dreams are going to be very, very vivid, and the angelic realm and our spirit guides are really like going to turn it up a notch in order to like confront us with our unconscious self-sabotaging behavior as well. That is also part of Pisces. So that's why I feel like a lot of people can feel a little bit exhausted. And if you struggle with like the savior victim complex, you really need to tune in with yourself, why that is happening, why you are doing that. Are you trying to save other people so you do not need to be confronted with your own pain? That is mostly the answer to it. So it's really about reflecting and going very, very deep inwards, and really looking at where we give our energy away. It's also about like restoring and fixing the leaks within our auric field, as people sometimes really take a lot of our energy, and we might need to like distance ourselves a little bit more in the next couple of weeks to really create more time and space to tune in with ourselves, with our own emotions, with our own intuition, because it's going to be strongly highlighted over the next couple of weeks. So also because Mercury is retrograde and it's in a very elusive, mystical sign, it can also bring back old memories from the subconscious, old dreams, of course, old persons or people. We know that's like very famously for that as well. But it's really more about like gaining insights about patterns where you're feeling stuck in. And also, one of the themes is also going to be forgiveness. That is also part of Pisces, pretty strongly actually. But as me having an natal Mercury and Pisces, I've actually been too forgiving, and it's beautiful to be forgiving, but not when people do not deserve it. And that has actually been one of my self-sabotaging behaviors. I always see the best in people, I always see their potential, and sometimes I'm having difficulties in like coming to terms with how they're actually in denial or spiritually bypassing themselves or me. And Pisces is also about like our rose-colored glasses. So it's also about escapism. And because there's going to be a lot of truth revealed and a lot of liars being exposed, people are going to be way more inclined to escape in substance abuse and spiritual bypassing and acting like everything is fine, and scrolling, like doom scrolling is going to be a very big theme here. Be very, very, very careful, because Mercury is our conscious brain, Pisces is the unconscious, and that is getting massively intertwined. So whatever you're consuming right now, it's really gonna like install on your hard disk with like a matter of like seconds. So be very, very careful who you connect with, and definitely who you connect back with, because I feel like this Mercury retrograde is gonna be a very, very big wrap up of all of the difficult energies that have been playing out in the sign of Pisces for the last 14 years, especially the last 3 years with Saturn. And I feel like a lot of people are going to get tested, because Saturn and Neptune are now out of Pisces, and Mercury retrograde is going to bring a lot of like the past Pisces bullshit back up. And do not get trapped. Do not get trapped in your old patterns. Do not keep yourself stuck. Do not try to hold on to the past, go back to the past. It's not gonna go well for you. So be very mindful about who returns from the past and why they are returning. Could be because they want to like steal your energy. So be mindful of that. You don't want to go out and save someone from the past. Of course, we can use our empathy. Empathy is also part of Pisces, but be careful. I'm just like gonna leave it at that. So also, a lot of people are gonna try to numb themselves out, addictions, binge watching, fantasies, spiritual delusion instead of grounded healing, because reality can feel a little bit too heavy now with Saturn, Neptune also conjunct. So yeah, can you stay present when the illusion dissolves? Can you sit with what you see, with what you feel, without running back into your fantasy world? We need to focus on getting our energy back, tuning into our intuition, waiting for clarity. Be mindful of how you speak. What is false is going to fade. What is hidden is going to surface, and what is going to be misaligned is going to feel impossible to maintain right now. So enough with the bad side of Pisces. Let's look at the higher manifestation, and you can screenshot it, as I'm not gonna talk too much about it, but definitely if you're already a little bit psychic or massively psychic, whatever, you can definitely see a very big increase in that happening. Prophetic dreams, increased synchronicities, especially in dreams or within meditation or spiritual practices. You can channel a lot right now, and it's also going to be confronting us with like our past spiritual beliefs and how that is actually being rebooted right now in some kind of way. Telepathic communication is going to be such a big one during this time, and meditation is really going to deepen the ability to do that. So really focus on those more beautiful, higher manifestations of Pisces, even though that is going to be a little bit more difficult during this time. All right, let's look at the chart. So it says February the 26th. That's mostly for Europe. For the US, it will be at the 25th at night. So yeah, so much information is going to resurface. So much old conversations are going to pop up to see some kind of completion, and all the inefficient, oh my god, this Mercury retrograde is going to be a lot for me. All right, so everything that's inefficient, that's Mercury retrograde now, all the inefficient so every system that is not working correctly, that is now getting exposed. And of course, systems that do work correctly belong to Virgos. That is the opposite side of the wheel. We might need to tap a little bit more into the Virgo axis, because to balance everything out, there's so much things going on in Pisces right now. There's too much energy there. Look at the chart, guys. We need to really look at the polarizing sign of the wheel. We need to look at Virgo and implement those threads to balance things a little bit out. So use your critical mind during this time, even though the south node is there, and we need to really let go of being too critical and too overly harsh on ourselves and too perfectionistic. But during this time, we might need to really dive in more into the Virgo themes. So this is really like very emotional instead of logic, and very intuitive instead of analytical. And external facts, they don't change, but it's like our perception is going to change very big here with this Pisces stellium. And we're going to really like sense what is misaligned long before we can like fully explain it. So listen to your intuition. All the stories are being rewritten. All the hidden documents are going to appear, and the public, definitely on the world stage, is really starting to question very, very deeply about the previous accepted realities and what's real and what's true in all of that. So focus on reflection, recognition, remembering. Pisces also deals with our past lives. And this is like the individual story that dissolves back into the collective ocean here. And our ego can soften, but the boundaries are getting blurred, and everything that's feeling more separate, it begins to merge all together now into something larger. That is Pisces. It is a sign that deals with our unconscious mind and imagination and film and screens. Mercury is information. Pisces is screens, like, oh my god, like social media and all of that. It's going to be rather confusing over the next couple of weeks, but Pisces, it is also about like these altered states of consciousness, and our past life memories are returning back, and it's the space that lives beyond reality. So it's not linear, it's not logical, while Mercury is actually all about that. It is about data and analysis and facts. And when it enters here Pisces, it is like the rational mind, Mercury, is getting submerged in like this cosmic oceanic realm. And think about like Mercury, normally it talks in like spreadsheets and detailed information. Now we're thinking more in like images and intuitive downloads, and we can have very big deja vu moments. And even when we're thinking about something and suddenly a song pops off, or a song plays in the background and it's like answering your thoughts and all of these beautiful things. Like, this is like the story of my life when I'm dealing with an inner struggle and I face like uncertainty and I lack clarity and I'm feeling a bit confused. I just like tune in with myself. I'm asking certain questions to my like higher self or my spirit guides or whatever you call it. They mostly answer through like songs on the radio, or like when you walk on the street and suddenly there's a very big truck passing by and there's like an advertisement at the back of the truck and that like just answers your question. And that is all going to be massively amplified right now, but it's also going to only going to be the people who already used to working with that kind of energy that are going to thrive during this Mercury retrograde. People who are a bit more unaware or have like no notion of synchronicities or like how beautiful the universe can like answer your thoughts, then they are gonna massively struggle over the next couple of weeks, because they're gonna be so lost within their self-imposed prison that they've created for themselves in their heads, especially for the last 14 years. And we're gonna see a lot of victims and a lot of people who are gonna be in need of saving. Do not disperse your energy right now. Really try to surrender, and acceptance is also a very big theme of Pisces. So yeah, it's really great for compassion and healing and having these like miraculous breakthroughs. Pisces deals and rules over miracles. And if you are a musician or if you work in the fields of like the arts, if you do photography, musician, like guitar, making movies, videos, all of that is going to be massively beneficial energy here. And do not launch something. You can now like create music and really look at your pictures and like re-edit your pictures, and that is going to give a very, very beautiful result here with all of this Piscean energy. So yeah, if you're an artist and you need to perform, that is actually very beneficial here. It's not about mental knowing. No, it is about like soul knowing here. And it's the kind of information that arrives, but that you like feel in your body. You cannot like explain it. So it can be massive, beneficial, potential energy for like therapeutic breakthroughs within your self-sabotaging behavior. It can be about emotional closure, even in regards to your past lives. But in general, it is a very, very big, purposeful realignment within our soul that is happening here. But be careful for like the propaganda and mass projection. There can actually be a little bit of like mass formation psychosis going on here. Matthias de Smet, he's a guy from Belgium who like came up with the concept during COVID times. You can check it out. It's kind of pretty interesting to see what he means by that, and I can definitely connect that to the Mercury retrograde cycle here. Also be careful about like fake news, manipulated images, whatever you scroll through on your feed or on your phone and feed. Double check. Be your own expert. It's going to be necessary. Everything in regards to media, film, viral content, AI images, they're gonna like try to emotionally charge the narrative through our screens like massively. So yeah, you cannot fully rely on the narratives that are being exposed here or like are being trying to installed here over the next couple of weeks. Energetic discernment is going to be such a big theme. So let's look at a very important key frame here in the retrograde cycle, because on the 7th of March, we're going to see a Mercury Cazimi. That is, of course, happening at 16 degrees here in the sign of Pisces. And we can see here in the chart that it makes a beautiful trine to Jupiter and Jupiter is about to station direct 3 days later on the 10th of March. So it's like Jupiter comes to a grand, like, still, it's standing still. Mercury and the Sun, which is a very big moment of clarity, illumination, revelations. Mercury Cazimis are very, very famously known for like new insights and massive channeling and spiritual downloads. And then Jupiter is amplifying and increasing all of that. So that is such a beautiful moment here, you guys. It's kind of interesting here. That is going to be very, very beneficial energy. It's like the death of an old narrative and like the birth of a new perception that is being installed here. So whatever information that was hidden, it's going to become visible now because the sun is going to illuminate Mercury, and that it can be a big moment of breakthrough. But it can be like a reset of the mind. That always happens when Mercury and the Sun are in a Cazimi moment. And it can be a moment where we like fully understand why the past unfolded the way it did. And when we can see more clearly through our own denial, and when we can recognize deeper meaning behind recent events. So this can be like on the world stage, major announcements, revelations, leaks, a very big shift in a dominant storyline that is about to change here, and something is like reaching the center of attention during a Mercury Cazimi, but we're still in Pisces, so whatever is being exposed can like raise as many questions as it's gonna answer, and that is a little bit the paradox. Like sometimes when I visit a psychic medium, and ask her a couple of questions, then she answers them, and then I go home and I'm like driving in my car and I'm like, okay, well, I've arrived here with 3 important questions. Now I'm leaving with 10 more. And that can really be the energy that we're all going to be dealing with here in the next couple of weeks. So if something gets like illuminated, or if there's some kind of big revelation, it can make you ponder upon so much more questions. And I think this is also a very big moment here of like realizing, like, the more we know, the less we know. And that can be a little bit of the paradoxal side of Pisces here. So if you feel like a little bit lost in the clouds, just like surrender. It's okay. Clarity is going to come in every season. And we have a big planetary stellium in that sign. So the trine to Jupiter, intuitive downloads that can feel very accurate, a lot of emotional healing through our conversations, especially in regards to our family. There can be good news connected to your home and family here with the trine to Jupiter. And there can also be like karmic reconnections from past life family. So yeah, listen to your gut and slow down. It's going to be so important to slow down over the next couple of weeks. So here, this is another important time frame. Mercury and Mars are going to be conjunct at 10 degrees. 10 degrees is a Capricorn degree. So about our government. Mars is war, conflict. Mercury is about like distortion of truth within the news. So be careful during those days. Mars is really like, it is volatile, and it's activating the entire retrograde of Mercury, and whatever Mercury is reviewing, Mars is going to accelerate it very quickly. Everything that was like delayed or was drifting in confusion is suddenly going to start to move way faster, and it's going to hit harder, and it's going to demand action and response here from Mars. And it's going to happen in like these symbolic events and leaks and distorted images, and mass psychological reactions are going to be triggered here. Be careful about your words during this day and the day surrounding that. Words can cut like a knife. Mars rules everything in regards to knives, guns, bombs, things exploding, heat. So yeah, people are going to be pissed off at the government, at those who have some kind of thing to say about us. It's about authority. that is getting challenged here, and massive lies being exposed, and words can be used as weapons, and the truth can be delivered with force, and this can like end passive observation here in Pisces. But yeah, people are gonna get quite reactive, and there can be like fast, urgent announcements and highly charged conversations going on here. It's gonna be a very big moment where people are no longer gonna be able to suppress what they're feeling, and they're gonna say it, and it's gonna like fly out of their mouth. And can also be about information battles through distorting the narrative, false information. Yeah, we're gonna see so many whistleblowers also coming out, and like declassified material coming out. Yeah, can it even also be in regards to religion, jails, hospitals, pharmaceuticals, mental health, like mental asylums, and things that the government are trying to like implement. Also new rules. They're trying to Jupiter rules over our, yeah, now I'm saying it like twice, but like Jupiter puts an emphasis on law and legality, and it's also about our rules and our moral compass. And Pisces is global trade, and there's gonna be something coming out in regards to like pharmaceuticals, and how the government is like trying to keep us all sick and in a mental state of confusion, and there's not enough emphasis on like our spiritual and mental health. Something big in regards to hospitals can also come out. Pisces really rules over like also medicine. And of course, it's in the opposite sign of Virgo, and Virgo rules over our physical health. It's going to be like a trigger point for collective awareness here and awakening. And this is very, very big collective awakening that's going on here. And if you're a little bit more shy, then this energy can really give you the courage to speak out, speak the truth, release a lot of suppressed anger, and there can be some conversation that really changes everything, or like a message coming in that is going to force you to make a choice rather quickly, or some kind of realization that is going to push you to really act or move into a whole new direction fast, immediately. But be careful, because it's going to trigger impulsive reactions, arguments, a lot of projection, a lot of like saying things in the heat of the moment. But if you tap into the higher manifestation, it can also be like being forced or feeling this unseen force and channeling that and making like a soul aligned action that is going to be guided by your intuition and your courage rather than your fear. So here it's like the fog catches a lot of fire with Mars, and whatever is false, it cannot survive the heat. So yeah, the news cycles are going to be so explosive, and they're going to be very emotionally charged. Global headlines are going to be, wow. Yeah, and major debates here around religion, what's going on in religion, in churches and temples and monasteries and mental asylums and belief systems. And we can see a lot of warfare going on in the media, a lot of like manipulation and spiritual bypassing and viral outrage that is going to be triggered by that. Discussions about UFOs, aliens, Saturn, Neptune are together on top of each other. It was to be expected. Interdimensional life, a lot of themes in regards to disclosure. Also know that like during the last Saturn Neptune conjunction, or no, it was not the last, it was the one in 52 53, so not the previous one but the one before that. We know that MK Ultra was like going on during that time. It's definitely something that is being brought up here again. It's like mind control, and all of that is going to be such a big theme here in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, do not let yourself be swept away by that. tune in to like your own intuition. Do not let it like go too crazy in your head. A lot of people are gonna lose it. Pisces is a sign of craziness, and it's like lowest regards. Spiritual delusion, spiritual bypassing, not being honest. But definitely also all the themes on the world stage in regards to like maritime law, oceanic policies, water related things, floods. The sea belongs to Pisces. Conflicts overseas, that is going to be a big one here. Like naval conflicts are going to be drawing a lot of attention during this time. So yeah, it's just gonna be one of those things here. If I think about like the Strait of Hormuz and then like other important naval canals, also like the Panama Canal and all of that, gonna be big topics here during this time. So if you then look at when it stations direct, because it's going to do that on the North Node, that is pretty interesting, you guys. We can see it here. It's at 8 degrees. 8 degrees is a Scorpio degree. So rather intense news here again. Intense, transformational, scorpionic, destined news coming in here with Mercury on top of the North Node at 8 degrees. So on the 20th of March, this happens and it is going to go direct again. So it's like karmic clarity here with North Node, and a lot of realizations that are going to be arriving around this time are going to carry like a lot of future defining weight into the scale here, and the mind has been moving through so much fog, and suddenly it's gonna like lock into a new path that is gonna propel you forward. With the North Node, it is uncharted territory, and it can feel a little bit uncomfortable, but it's gonna be like such a new destined way that we're gonna find ourselves in, like a new decisive shift in the storyline. So what was confusion, or like what was confusing, is now gonna like reveal its purpose. And what's hidden now, it's going to show you why it had to surface now during this time. So there's like a course correction, a very fated, destined course correction that is going to realign you with your soul path moving forward. And you're going to understand why certain delays happened over the last 3 weeks, and why conversations returned, and why old past life memories resurfaced. So yeah, this is like a big resetting of our destined compass here, and a lot of people are going to feel like, okay, now I know what to do. And the North Node pulls us towards growth, and these are destined choices, destined encounters, insights that are really going to change your long-term plans. And it is like purposeful movement in the direction of our dharma. So this is where like the collective awakening is going to become like irreversible. The future direction is going to become visible. So we're going to see new policies forming that can be rather intense here in regards to global trade. A shift in like the collective focus towards what's coming next. And the fog is still going to be a bit present because Mercury needs to move through its pre-shadow phase, post-shadow phase, of course, until the 9th of April, but still, it's like we can see light at the end of the tunnel, and now our path is like being illuminated, and we can see like a new light in the distance coming closer. So yeah, this is gonna mark such a big decisive shift in like all the dominant global narratives going on right now, and the public can start to like connect the dots and realize how all the past events are going to be linked to this specific moment, and new policies, new laws, new agreements that are really going to shape the future rather than like revisiting the past. We are now done with the old world. I can see this Mercury retrograde as like a very big wrap up of all the energies that has been going on through, the sign of Pisces. So Yeah, wow. It is like a rather interesting Mercury retrograde. So, if you look at like the most important predictions, and of course, I've already been like going over that, but like the information war is going to be so big. Careful for like misleading narratives. There's going to be conflicting stories. There's going to be like edited content. There's going to be false news, misinformation, propaganda warfare, and it's gonna create a little bit of confusion and deception. But if you guys are already like forewarned, then you are forearmed. So do not lose like energy. Otherwise, you're gonna be, if you're gonna try to figure out all of the different sides, because mostly we only talk when like a narrative tries to be like installed on the population. We always look at like left and right, good or like bad, and or like wrong and right, and we think there is only going to be two sides, but like now this is like boundless. There's going to be like a million different sides to the story, and it's going to be almost impossible to figure out what really happened. We're going to need to wait until April to really find out what's the truth and all of that. So yeah, the interdimensional narrative is going to come forward strongly. I want to say so much about it, but just know, if they're saying that aliens do exist, and now that's being like big news, and if they're gonna show you photos or pictures of it, like we all like know how an alien looks like the weird eyes and the shape of the face. There's like a standard imagery of how aliens should be looking like. Just know that that image is actually being founded by Aleister Crowley, the wickedest man on earth. You can like look it up if you want. He was the first one. I forgot the exact year, but he was the first demonic guy who did dark rituals for like 6 months straight, trying to channel demonic entities as much as possible inside of his auric field. And while he was doing that, he drew the first image of an alien. And since that exact time, that is how we, the people, or like the collective, look at how aliens should be looking like. Okay, I hope that makes sense, because my sentences today are not my best sentences, but still, if you know that this guy, like, is the one who, yeah, first drew that imagery, then there's more food for thought, right? So look into that, and protect your energetic field, because that guy, I actually do not like to say his name at all, even though he did some really pretty amazing astrological work as well, but it is just a very, very demonic guy. Pisces also rules over collective fear and like collective salvation, and we can see like large scale problems that are being like presented. Alongside these large scale solutions, we can see like a whole new problem reaction solution going on, because they're gonna try to protect us now from all the aliens, and by that they're just like installing their new control systems upon us. So yeah, it was to be expected. I think that's gonna become very, very clear over the next couple of weeks as well. But then on the more positive side, there can actually be a lot of miracles happening. There can be healing, scientific breakthroughs as well. There can be like new medical innovations going on that are going to restore our energetic field as well, with the trine to Jupiter, and that is like something positive that we can expect here. And also, because it's like the psychological effect on the collective, it's like not slow awakening. It is a very, very sudden and big one. A lot of people are going to feel disoriented, a bit more tired, more emotional, more withdrawn. The subconscious process information now, that like the conscious mind is not fully ready to fully integrate. Your dreams intensify, your sleep patterns change, people questioning long held beliefs around reality, spirituality. We need compassion, but with Saturn on Neptune, there can be a lack of compassion because Saturn reframes the Neptunian qualities. So be careful about like global news, and I'm not going to go too deep into all of that because I've already like highlighted a lot. But let's switch over to how to handle your life. Keep a dream journal. Write down your heightened psychic sensitivity. It can reopen creative channels. Write, compose music. Look at films that are actually keeping you in an alternative state of mind, but be sure you're watching the right movies. I'm not talking about like the Hollywood movies with Leonardo DiCaprio, and not looking at people who are very fond of baby cannibalism and all of that. So be sure to tap into the right kind of music and films and do the spiritual work. Be careful for escapism and release your victim mentality. Do not say white lies to keep the peace. It's gonna, it's gonna backfire. If you feel exhausted or a little bit burned out, tune into self-love. Good time for doing therapy, shadow work, dream journaling, energy healing, soul retrieval work, digital decluttering, but also like from your unconsciousness. Um, but be careful about signing contracts as well. So, yeah, with all of that being said, we are going to start the readings for the 12 rising signs. And we're going to start with Aries, Sun, Moon, or Rising. You are going to have the Mercury retrograde in the 12th house. It is the most spiritual and private sector of your chart. So it can be a little bit more internal. Normally, when we have a Mercury retrograde, it can get quite external, but it's in like a hidden house because it's in the 12th, of course, for you. So this is like a deep inner process. And your mind is really going to turn inwards and start to process all of the old memories, past life memories, can be about hidden fears, past grief. A lot of subconscious patterns are about to be triggered here as well. So, everything that's like quietly been shaping your behavior and how that's actually affecting you right now, or like your entire life. So of course, Mercury also rules over your third house and also your sixth house. So the third is about like thinking, communication, contract, siblings, and the sixth is actually about your work, your health, and also your routine and your daily service towards others. So yeah, all of that is like the outer world or like the external world of the third, your local environment, and the sixth, your daily routine. All of that needs to slow down because your inner world is like really processing a lot of stuff, and it might need a bit more time to catch up. You need more rest, more time off. Daily demands can weigh a bit more heavily on your shoulders, and if you need to communicate all of the time, that can feel a little bit more exhausting right now because you want to connect and communicate with your ancestors and the spirit realms and the angelic forces that are operating within your life. And you want to dive into your spiritual practices and listen to music and paint and compose music, or like all of these beautiful things, edit your beautiful pictures. And yeah, there might be a little bit more misunderstandings at work or changes within your schedule, feeling a bit more fatigued, and your mental health needs more attention right now. This is a time for integration and healing, and it is actually also co-aligning with Saturn and Neptune in your sign, and this is like a whole new chapter, and your whole identity is being rewritten, and by that also your unconscious needs to catch up. So give yourself a little bit more time to do all of that. You will probably want to escape into binge watching and hopefully not substance abuse, but you can definitely also try to escape life through sleeping more. Yeah, beautifully. Luckily, this Mercury retrograde is like trining Jupiter in your fourth, and it's like about emotional protection inside of the home, and it's about also inner child healing, and look at your patterns of your upbringing and how that's affecting your identity and how all of that is being rewritten right now. It is quite interesting what's going on for you, my dear Aries. Just know by the end of March, when Aries season kicks off, then you're gonna feel like mentally lighter and intuitively guided towards your next chapter, and you can have a lot of revelations from your angelic realm during this time. So keep a dream journal, Aries. That is like very important for you. With the retrograde in the 12th house, it is very mystical, telepathic communication, synchronicities, all of that is going to be massively highlighted, and you can really release a lot of anxiety and burnout issues and put emphasis on healing in the 12th. And there can definitely be a very beautiful emotional breakthrough that is going to be connected to your family or in sense of how you feel safe and your belonging here in the world. Just know that you're not falling behind right now. You just need to take it a little bit more easy and be soft on yourself, and also practice compassion. And today I will be doing a card draw for each of the 12 signs, as it's in the sign of Pisces and as it is a very mystical sign. So let's look at what the cards have to say for you, my dear Aries. Oh, and one falls out. Oh my god, this is so cool. It says water codes. So it's ancient wisdom, the intelligence is within you. So this is really about past life wisdom coming true. How crazy is that with the Mercury retrograde in the 12th house? So yeah, ancient wisdom, wisdom from the past, everything you need to know is already within you. Your intuition is going to be so much enhanced and strengthened during the next couple of weeks, and really focus on working with water and on cleansing and on taking salt baths. And yeah, you're gonna receive some new water codes. So yeah, that is actually very beautiful and very applicable for this Mercury retrograde. So let me know how that plays out for you, my dear Aries, and I wish you a lot of good luck. We then have Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So you are going to have this Mercury retrograde in the 11th house. And the 11th house is, of course, about your friendships and your social spheres and your networks and how you collaborate with other people, the future that you're actually trying to build. And there's like a re-evaluation or a reassessment who you are like growing together with and who are your friends, and whether these people are still like on your current path right now, if they're like reflecting your values as well. Because Mercury rules over your second house of finances. It's money, self-worth, resources, but also over the fifth house of creativity, romance, your personal joy, your children, your passions are all lying within the fifth house of Virgo, and Mercury also rules over that. So the retrograde in the 11th is going to be directly linked towards your income, your talents, your creativity, your emotional fulfillment, what makes you feel passionate. And people from the past can definitely come back up. Past friendships that are going to re-trigger these themes in some kind of way. So is your dream like financially and emotionally sustainable? The people around you, do they truly value what you bring to the table? Are you building something real and something from the heart? Or are you just simply chasing an ideal that needs some kind of reviewing going on here? So this is really about also belonging and a self-worth reset. And yeah, you're gonna experience some kind of change within your group dynamics. and there can be miscommunications with friendships and delays also in creative or collaborative projects with other people. But Jupiter is also within your third house, trining this Mercury retrograde and also Venus, and this can bring definitely inspired in conversations or something you write or teach or speak that can gain a lot of traction, and you can really work on those projects now in silence before you release them, like on social media in the 11th house. The 11th and the 3rd are like linked also at blogging and podcasting and all of that. So yeah, rework your website, relaunch a speaking or writing project. This is really about reconnecting with your voice and sharing like a creative vision with your friendships or within your community in a more spiritual, meaningful kind of way. So definitely friends from the past, biggest prediction here, and they can grant or bring a lot of joy into your local community. It's like big groups of people and your local community are strongly intertwined. So your friendships and bumping into them when you go to the store for groceries, doing errands to the gas station, and really a lot of people from the past are going to be returning here. And it's also about like having these inspiring conversations with them, so it's actually quite helpful here for you, Taurus. It's also going to conjunct Venus here for you, and that is of course your chart ruler, and that is already going to happen on the 26th, 27th, 28th. Venus here in your 11th house also brings in a lot of beneficial energy and sweet loving, like enjoying the finer things in life together with your friendships. An important female can come forward and then help you. So that is actually very helpful for you, my dear Taurus. So let's look at what the cards are having to say for my dear Taurus and the retrograde into the 11th. So a card for Taurus. Gentle force, consistency, persistence, patience, the long game. And I think that it's also connected with the fact that Saturn and Neptune are actually in your 12th house. So that is really also saying like you need to consistently and persistently work on your own self-sabotaging habits right now. And if you're going to release a lot of these stuck patterns from the 12th house of the subconscious, then new people, as you're like clearing that out, new people are going to come onto your path who are going to help you on the next leg of your journey, or who are going to help you with keeping patient with the 12th house energy, because Neptune is of course connected to Pisces, and Neptune is now within your 12th house of like the subconscious, and Saturn is like restructuring all of that. And maybe things feel a little bit heavy with these two outer planets in your 12th house, and now they're saying like just patience and the long game, and be gentle with yourself. And maybe you need to focus a little bit more now on friendships, for getting out of like the passive state of the 12th house that is getting triggered here, and friendships are going to help you move through that. So yeah, be gentle during this time. Having planets operating in the 12th is not always easy, so practice self-love. Good luck, my dear Taurus. We have Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So you, of course, Gemini, Mercury is your chart ruler of massive importance. You are also a mutable sign. It happens in an angular house in the 10th house. This is going to be like a big one for you, Gemini. And the 10th house is in regards to your career, your life direction, the legacy that you want to leave behind, your leadership role. It is very visible. If you have some kind of misunderstanding, then that's going to be very visible, and it can affect your reputation in some kind of way, because it's also about your public identity. Very big reassessment of where you are going and how the world sees you here in during this time. And of course, because Mercury rules you, your body, your personal path, how it affects people's first opinion of you. And also, Mercury rules over your 4th house of home, family, emotional foundations, your mother. So it's really about balancing your private life with your public life, so that your success is also emotionally sustainable, and vice versa. So yeah, a very big redefinition what success means to you and how that is being received at home. And do you need to put more emphasis on your family? Are they supporting you in your career changes? And Mercury goes back to the past, so it can be about all professional storylines that are getting retriggered here, a former boss, former clients, former jobs. This is a very big visibility reset, and your reputation is going to change in some kind of way, because it's your chart ruler. And um, you might question your ambition. You might feel a little bit confused. You might experience delays or reversals or like shifting expectations in your career path. There can definitely be miscommunications with authority figures and with the government as well here, and that can all be a little bit confusing. And there can also be a very big reorganization within your field of work or within your company, or maybe your boss is changing or something in regards to that. Then it makes beautiful trine towards Jupiter in your second house. And that is going to be like the stabilizing force here, and it's going to amplify everything. But it is a positive aspect, and it's going to bring new opportunities to talk about your salary. The second house is all about money, so you can attract more aligned clients. You can reconnect with past professional contacts. Your self-worth is going to be shifting and expanding by the job changes that are about to come forward of this retrograde. So apply for a new job, update your resume or your CV, or like your online presence or your long-term strategy in regards to your career. That's going to be very, very positive here. And it's really about reassessing and looking at how you can build a career that is actually supporting your own life. And if you rebalance that, it's going to be a huge boost in your self-worth during this time. So let's look at what the cards are saying for you, my dear Gemini, as it is your chart ruler and actually of uttermost importance here, my dear Gemini. So a card for Gemini. Oh, it's also water codes, just like Aries, water codes. Ancient wisdom, the intelligence is already within you. So again, I think you guys have a very big and strong sense already of what needs to be changed within your 10th house of career. Maybe you want to focus more on your family, or maybe your family needs less responsibility of you, in which you can now go like full force ahead in your career. Maybe you want to start a spiritual business. That is also a possibility here, especially because it's in the sign of Pisces. Maybe you're becoming way more emotionally attuned towards your career as well, and you might have already a very strong sense of what needs to be released, and you're going to receive upgrades in like insights and channelings and downloads, and like how you need to move forward in your career after this Mercury retrograde is going to be over. So good luck with that, my dear Gemini. We have Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising. You are going to have the Mercury retrograde happening in your 9th house, and it's in a fellow water sign. It's also trining you, and then Jupiter is about to station direct in your sign on the 10th of March. So very beneficial energy here for you, my dear Cancer. So Mercury retrograde, we know it's not the best time for travel, and it's going retrograde in a travel house. The 9th is long distance, and Mercury is actually short distance. Now, if you want to travel, I would advise you to go back to a place you've already traveled to before. That is going to lessen the more negative manifestations of Mercury retrograde. But the 9th, it is also about like higher education and philosophy and spirituality and publishing, and it's also dealing with legal matters and affecting your vision for the future or how you look on the world. So your mind now seeks meaning rather than facts. It rules over the 3rd house of thinking, communication, contracts, and siblings, and also short distance trips. But it also rules over your 12th house, and that is the house of the subconscious, the past, healing that, spiritual truth, closure. So it's asking you to actually reconnect your daily mindset, Mercury and the 3rd house, to your spiritual mindset, or like deeper, higher philosophy, realigning your daily mindset from the third with deeper spiritual truth from the 12th. And all the plans that you've made in regards to travel, going back to school, visas, legal processes, publishing, all of that might slow down a little bit and might need some reassessment or reevaluation. But it's really about having faith and a new perspective coming in. So yeah, it's also about limiting beliefs and like cleaning that out, or like purging that out, and speak about what you normally keep for yourself, because the ninth house, it's like our own deep inner belief system. And there can be some confusion first in that. There can be some frustration with delays in regards to the ninth house themes, but because it trines your Jupiter in your sign, this is gonna be, you are protected. You are gonna receive some very empowering upgrades within your belief systems, and that can then bring by the end of the retrograde like a renewed confidence, or like a new intuitive realignment, and a stronger sense of personal truth. The ninth house is also the house of the gods, and you're being protected here with the trine from Jupiter. Jupiter belongs traditionally to the ninth house, so very deeply spiritual, intuitive, reflective Mercury retrograde here for you. And don't be surprised if if you have some delays when you are going traveling. Just like implement that. And it can also be about like going back to like courses or studies from the past. And if you do travel, you might want to do some retreats or go to sacred mystical places, really expanding new things, or like learning new things, and by that expanding your view on the world, and learning what actually nourishes your soul. And by that, if you do that, it's going to have a good like, oh my god, this Mercury retrogrades, my words today, it's like more difficult. I can like really feel it, so you guys are going to have to like um go through it with me together. But definitely, the ninth house is like looking at the world from a more spiritually aligned state of mind. That is going to be most important for you. So let's look at what the cards are saying for you, my dear Cancer. So, a card for Cancer. Oh, that's so, oh my God, that is so beautiful and so applicable. It says, thank you, gratitude, appreciating what's sustaining you. And that aligns so beautiful with like the ninth house and the trine to Jupiter in your sign. There's going to be so much positivity coming off of this Mercury retrograde. But once it's over, and it's really, Jupiter is also like being grateful for all the beautiful, bountiful things that are already existent within our life. And it's about a renewed sense of confidence and being grateful. And it is just like a really, really beautiful card. So practice gratefulness. What you can do during this Mercury retrograde to lessen the more negative effects, is every night before you go to sleep, you write down 10 things you're grateful for like the day that's passed. That is helping you massively to get into like a whole new mindset. And when you really install the new mindset, that is going to like override so many self-limiting beliefs, and by that also renewed confidence can come off of that with the trine to Jupiter in your sign. So yeah, good luck, my dear Cancer. We have Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. So Leo, you are going to have the Mercury retrograde going on in your 8th house. So the 8th house is a bit more intense. This is the house of shared resources, intimacy, debts, taxes, inheritances, energetic, financial, and sexual entanglements. And it's going to give you very deep, profound psychological transformation. it's like a very big reassessment in what you share, what you owe, what you are owed, what your energy is like strongly tied to other people. And it's a very financial Mercury retrograde here, Leo, because Mercury rules over your second house of money and finances, and also over the 11th house of your friends, your networks, your collaborations. Biggest advice: do not lend or like borrow any money to your friends now. That is gonna be not not beneficial for you, Leo. So of course the retrograde is directly linked to your own income, to your trust in other people, and how you like financially or emotionally agree within relationships, and how that's tied also to your communities. So the second and the eighth house axis is like mine versus yours, and how we share everything, and there can be like delays or revisions involving your taxes, insurances, your mortgage, spousal support, settlements, investments, funds, loans. I've probably already said loans, but still, it can also be tied to your partner's income. And with Mars in the seventh house and Venus in the eighth house, there can be some frustration going on. Maybe that is going to be possible. Or maybe your partner is spending a bit more than you would like, or something in those regards. Definitely with Mars in the seventh house wrapping up the transit and the square to Uranus in the 10th, there can definitely be some frustrations going on in regards to other people and on a financial level. And there can be some, instability definitely within your marriage. But you've probably already felt that with Mars going through your seventh house. The Mercury retrograde in the eighth, it is, deep shadow work, confronting fears of loss. It can be about betrayal, scarcity, vulnerability, how you keep control over everything. And it can also be about secrets coming out. Eighth house is the house of secrets. Can be about secrets of like trust that is getting a little bit damaged, or like past betrayals can come up to see some kind of resolution. Also be careful about where your partner is spending the money. How much are you sharing? How much are they sharing with you? Maybe there needs to be some kind of restoring of the balance. Can also be in an energetic balance, honestly. The eighth house is also the house of the occult. And with Mars in the seventh house, there's probably some frustrations that came up in regards to your partner or other people who are very close to you. And something in regards to an energetic balance needs to be restored. Jupiter transit from your 12th house. It can bring a lot of spiritual protection and a lot of powerful messages through your dreams, and also the ability now to finally release a lot of trauma and past relationships with the conjunction to Jupiter also in the 8th, or the ability to release trauma in regards to betrayal financially or emotionally. These are all coming back up to be released and healed with the trine to Jupiter. So with Jupiter in the 12th also, look at your scarcity patterns, release that as well. And you can do that with therapy and energy healing, somatic breath work, somatic practices. And it's really about rebuilding trust, but also with yourself. That is going to be the most important thing here. Do not be mad at yourself for making past mistakes in regards to the 8th house themes. We are all here learning how to handle that intense house. And now, my dear Leo, on the 2nd of March, Mars is going to jump into your 8th house as well. And that can bring up past fears, and something that needs to be reworked in those realms or regards. So good luck. I don't know, wait, we're going to draw a card. I was almost going to switch over to the other sign. Luckily, I've caught myself in time. So, my dear Leo, what are the cards saying? Ooh, cool. This is so applicable because you're actually having two cards that are popping out of the deck. And the first one is King Tide, plenty, prosperity, receiving the fullness of life. King Tide. And we all know, my dear Leo, that you guys are the king of the jungle. So it's really about reclaiming lost power from the eighth house. Look at the energetic, financial, emotional, psychological entanglements you have with other people and how you can step more into your king era. And the king, it also is able to share with other people. And the eighth house is the house of sharing. So maybe you're gonna look, or some of you are gonna be put in some kind of position and where you're gonna be able to share more with others, and by that also restoring trust within yourself and within your relationships. And whenever Mars comes into the eighth house, all the energy, passion, and directiveness, like all of the assertiveness is being directed into that eighth house. So it can not only bring up more frustration in regards to occult themes, it's also about like reclaiming lost power into like setting boundaries and look at where there are imbalances within your entanglements and step onto your throne because you are the king, of course, my dear Leo. And then the other one is a pretty interesting one. It is ride the waves, life lessons and growth. You will get through this. So I feel like depending on your own natal chart, some Leos are going to be put in a higher position of like power from the eighth house, and by that sharing with other people. But I feel like this one, there's going to be other Leos who are going to be confronted with traumatic experiences from the past, and where you're maybe now not being able to share with other people, and how that is leaving you feeling vulnerable. And this one and says like, ride the waves, you will get through this. So have trust, have faith, surrender. That is all part of Pisces. And yeah, you will get through this, my dear Leo. I wish you the best of luck. All right, we have Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Okay, my dear Virgos, Mercury is your chart ruler and it's going retrograde in your seventh house. Yeah, I know, my dear fellow Virgo Rising, we are over all of the energy within our seventh house. Definitely such a big relief. Now Saturn and Neptune have left that house. I, for a fact, have been feeling a big difference with that. So let me know how you are experiencing that. So yeah, this is going to be a very pivotal retrograde. Mercury, it is your chart ruler. It is in your opposing sign. It is in fall, unfortunately, but still it is like wrapping up and reviewing all of the past lessons of the past 3 to 14 years in regards to relationships. So you are definitely one of the sign that is gonna bump into partners from the past. If an ex hits you up through your DMs, you do what you want, but I would not advise you to dive back into that energy because this is about wrapping up that cycle. Do not keep yourself stuck in past patterns in regards to relationships. That is like my strongest and most important advice. But still, some past partners are going to pop up again in order to find closure, to find some kind of resolution or solution. And yeah, it is actually quite interesting here. The seventh house deals not only with relationship and marriage, but also with clients and business partners and contracts and also open enemies. So there is like a complete reassessment of who you are in relationship to other people. Mercury also rules over your 10th house of career and reputation and your life direction. And it also rules over you. So very important retrograde here for you. And every decision that you're going to be making in your relationship is going to have like direct consequences to your public path, to your career, to your long-term future, to like your reputation in the tent. This is like about a lot of career realignments, agreements, new clients from the past that are gonna come back in order for you to help them out in some kind of way. Yeah, There can be a little bit like more at the moment stalled negotiations, or they take longer than you're used to. There can be a bit more unclear communication and the feeling like some kind of relationship is finding itself in some kind of confusion or in between state, or you're like not quite sure how things are gonna go. Just know that it is like a final chapter of like a very big karmic cycle. The eclipses have been playing out. We're gonna see on March the 3rd a full moon lunar eclipse in your sign opposite Mercury. Mercury is gonna be the ruler of that eclipse. Strong energy, Virgo. Very, very strong energy. If you're a single Virgo, it might bring someone from your past life back into your life. Definitely with the conjunction of Mercury and Venus in your 7th house. Whoever bumps into your life right now, whoever that's new, they can be like very strong past life soulmates that are coming in. Just know that on the 2nd of March, Mars is also going to enter the 7th house. So if you're in a relationship right now, then there can be some frustration. Also in regards to money, look what your partner is doing with money. Saturn, Neptune in the 8th, Mercury retrograde in the 7th, Mars in the 7th. Venus will then jump into the 8th house soon. Yeah, there's something coming up in regards to money and shared finances as well. And that can create some frustration with Mars in the 7th. If you're single, then Mars in the 7th can definitely bring like all of your energy is going to be directed into your relationship zone. So this is like mirror work in a very, very profound, intuitive level here. Mercury retrograde here can also give like a little bit of mixed signals or like projection from partners or like themes of codependency that need to be like reworked here, and it's gonna definitely bring a lot more awareness to all the relationship themes here. So the trine to Jupiter in the 11th, support from friendships. Maybe a friend turns into a lover or a lover turns into a friend. You can get a lot of guidance. Your friendships are gonna help you through. If you are going through a breakup, that is possible here with the Mercury retrograde, because it's also about like dissolving of contracts, dissolving of soul contracts here in the 7th house. That is definitely a big possibility here. So let's look at what the cards are gonna give for my fellow Virgo risings. Beneath the surface, what is really driving you? True motives breaking free. How well does that like correlate with what I've all just like mentioned? Because beneath the surface, that is like the card that belongs to the 8th house, where Saturn and Neptune are like now operating in. Venus is gonna conjunct that. Definitely about hidden motives in regards to love and finances, and like also what is driving you to create a relationship or to still be within a relationship. And Mercury retrograde, I just said like the dissolving of soul contracts, and then we can see breaking free. So yeah, that is actually quite applicable for this Mercury retrograde here for you guys. So let me know what happens, and I wish you the best of luck. We have Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising. All right, my dear Libra, you're gonna have this Mercury retrograde in your 6th house. It's in a quincunx sign away from you. It is not like making a positive aspect towards you. It's also in the house of work, daily routine, your health, well-being, time management, productivity. Look at your like energetic health, your boundaries, your auric level, or like your auric field. Look at what's causing you stress. Try to dissolve some of the stress. Try to dissolve contracts in regards to work that are causing you too much stress. Yeah, it is like Pisces also rules the feet. Be a bit more like, put more attention towards your feet and your ethereal body over the next few weeks. But yeah, this is like about totally reorganizing your life. This retrograde, in a more soul aligned way, a more like intuitive recalibration of how you live your day to day life. Mercury rules over your ninth house of beliefs, travel, education, legal matters, and also your 12th house, and that is the subconscious. It is rest, withdrawal, final endings, hidden patterns, self-sabotage, spirituality, surrendering. Your angelic realm is all found in the 12th. So quite profound here, of course. So how do your beliefs, how is your mental health and your unconscious habits, how is it affecting your physical body, your daily schedule, your ability to function? How is your productivity going? Reconnect with the spiritual side of life, implement that more in your daily routine, work on like creating a sustainable rhythm. If your daily rhythm has been too stressful, then you need to like dissolve that. There can be a lot of changes within your schedule, within your colleagues, actually shifts within your job, within your responsibilities at your job. There can be a lot of miscommunications with co-workers going on during this time. So yeah, tap into routines that support your nervous system, and your mind is gonna be so exhausted, especially at work. You can feel like you're overburdened, that your colleagues are trying to give you more work. Then Mars is going to enter your sixth house by the 2nd of March. Mars in the sixth house can give like complaints of like burnout, or like being overproductive, or like feeling like it's all too much. And there can be frustration with coworkers, frustration even with pets, even with all the things that you need to do on a daily basis. And it can all become a little bit too overwhelming. You need to be able to flow in your day-to-day rhythm with Pisces on this sixth house cusp. Some of you might get a little bit of a health scare. You might need to go back to the doctor, rework your nutrition plan. Maybe you need to create some kind of physical movement routine, or like go to the gym with Mars in the sixth. But if you are already like exhausted and overburdened, going to the gym is also only going to make it worse. So really take what resonates for you. But definitely you need to put an emphasis on detoxing, and your immune system can be a little bit weird during this time. So yeah, really listen to the signals of your body. Luckily, it makes a trine towards your Jupiter in the 10th house. If you want to apply for a new job, you can now like update your resume and make changes in regards to your job. There can be a new job coming forward of this with the trine to Jupiter in the 10th. It's like a very powerful link between your daily service and your long-term success or your career here. There can be a very big reassessment or redefinition of your workflow, your schedule. You might need to like re-implement some routine from the past that was beneficial for your psychic senses as well, how that's operating within your daily life as well. And if you need help, ask for help here. There's so much energy in your sixth house. The trine to Jupiter in the 10th amplifies all of that. There can be a very big overburdening of work, or there can be a whole new start in work going off when the retrograde finishes. But definitely improve like your workflow, and something changes within that. So there can be a major reassessment of your work schedule, or like within your job structure, or even within like your office space. Be careful about miscommunication with co-workers. So let's look at what the cards are having to say for you, my dear Libra, especially with Jupiter going direct in your 10th house soon. That is like very positive energy, as Jupiter is in an angular house. So here it says the sacred well, replenishment, self-care, giving from a place of plenty. So the sixth house is where you give on a daily basis, and you might find out that you're going to need to like refill your own cup. So self-care and listening to the subtle cues and signs of your body is going to be essential, and it's going to really give you the opportunity to release some patterns of stress within your daily workflow, and it is about replenishment within your health and well-being and self-care. It is the most important thing as it's happening in the sixth house. So yeah, this card is really, really highlighting that. Be sure to be able to give from a place of plenty, and you might feel like you're a bit exhausted now that you do not have a lot of space or room for giving to other people. Just know that that's okay. You are a people pleaser. You always listen to other people's needs first before you listen at your own needs. Well, now this is going to be a lesson in how to fill your own cup and how to draw stronger boundaries within your daily service towards others. Do not be too selfless during the next couple of weeks, and that is going to help you. All right, good luck, Libra. We have Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising. All right, my dear Scorpio, you are going to have the Mercury retrograde in a fellow water sign in your fifth house. Scorpio, I think you are having one of the best Mercury retrogrades, honestly. The fifth house is the one of romance, creativity, children, your self-expression, your passion projects. It's where we are a little bit more speculative. I would advise you not to take too much risks with your money on a speculative basis, because Mercury is going to conjunct Jupiter, but it's going retrograde, so might be not the best time for it to go on the speculative behavior in the fifth house and take a lot of risks with money. But also the fifth is about your children, and yeah, you are very attuned to all of the deep mystical watery energy that is being triggered here. You see a trine from Jupiter to your sign and a trine from the whole Pisces stellium in the fifth house of fun and passion towards your sign. This is actually very beautiful energy, Scorpio. I think you guys are getting a little bit of a break here. Of course, Mars is squaring Uranus in your seventh house. There can be some issues at home and with partners going on for sure. And I think that is going to be like the catalysator towards you really reassessing and reviewing your past contracts, even soul contracts, past life soul contracts in regards to love and attraction within your fifth house. And maybe some of you are going to break up and release yourselves from a romantic situation. Definitely, if you are in a situationship, my dear Scorpio, with a square from your ruler, Mars to Uranus in the seventh house of relationships, there is a possibility of a bomb going off in the relationship zone. But then with Mercury retrograde and all of the planets in your fifth house, there's an emphasis on looking back on what brings you joy, on what makes your heart sing, on everything that makes you happy and makes you feel seen and wanted as well. And fifth house is the house where things are being born. If you want to become pregnant, and here you can find out news that you are pregnant, be careful if you do not want to become pregnant. There can be some sudden unexpected revelations going on in that zone. So Mercury, it also rules over your eighth house of intimacy, shared resources, and also your 11th house of friendships. So this period is really connects your heart from the fifth house and your creativity to also your future vision in the 11th, and also what you share with other people in the eighth house. Reevaluation of what brings you joy, and whether all of the investments from the eighth are actually, if there's a return on investment, and if that is making you feel seen and heard and motivated to continue everything that you're doing right now. There can be passion projects from the past turning back up again here with the Mercury retrograde in the fifth. So think about all of the passion projects that you've put on the shelf, and now you can take them back off the shelf and you can reignite something in that. Definitely when Mars also is going to join the fifth house and it's going to make a trine towards your sun, moon, or rising. So the 15th of March could actually be rather important to you, and there could actually be a romantic lover from the past popping up back again here to either find resolution, or maybe they're going to want a second chance. That is very, very possible here for you, my dear Scorpio. The trine from Jupiter in the 9th towards your sign, boosting of confidence, inspiration, opportunities for travel, for learning, from teaching, and also for publishing yourself. And that is seeing massive potential with this very big water trine that is affecting your sign. So this is actually Very, very important. Look what happens around the 15th of March. That is going to be important with Mercury Mars here, because Mars is your chart ruler. There can be like a very big moment where you take a creative risk that is going to be very important for you for the future. It can also be in regards to children or your romantic partner going on. So let's look at what the cards are saying for you, my dear Scorpio. You are a water sign, and all this beautiful watery energy is actually being very, very supportive for you. You just need to go through the Mars square Uranus. So, for the Scorpio, oh my god, it's so beautiful. It's like the pearl, alchemy, the reward at the end from grit to grace. Yeah, the alchemy. It's like after doing so much work, the reward at the end is gonna come through. And I feel, my dear Scorpios, you really deserve it. Alchemy is actually also a word that belongs to you, and the fact that it all happens in such beautiful fifth house of joy, romance, passion. I really feel like you're gonna like find an unexpected pearl, and it's gonna bring you a lot of happiness. And the pearl can either be some passion project. Even the pearl can also be like a bird. The pearl is very, very, how do you call it, scarce. It is rare. It's a very, very rare moment here, especially around the 15th of March. Look what happens. It's gonna be very positive. The pearl is like one of the best cards in the whole deck. So yeah, I knew you guys would be like the sign that is gonna have the best Mercury retrograde, and the card really confirms that. So good luck, my dear Scorpio. We have Sagittarius and Moon rising. All right, my dear Sagittarius, you are going to have the Mercury retrograde in your fourth house. And the fourth house is the house of home, family, your roots, your emotional security. It can also be in regards to property or your private emotional landscape. And it rules also over the seventh house of relationships and the 10th house of career. So all the changes that are happening in your home are intertwined with your relationships and your professional direction. All of that can actually shift during this time. So where do you feel safe? Where do you feel seen in the fourth house? Where do you feel like you belong? Is your foundation strong enough to support the future with your spouse, the changes that are going on within your career? Because you're going to have a full moon lunar eclipse in the 10th house on the 3rd of March soon. So it's going to be very important. There can also be like unexpected moves, moving back home, moving back to a place you already lived before, needing to deal with mortgages, with the trine to Jupiter in the 8th. It can also be dealings with family and real estate from the family, money coming in from family or real estate within the family, reconnecting with your relatives, decisions about living arrangements quite unexpectedly here, with also Mars square Uranus. Uranus is about to go into the 7th house. Mars is about to go into 4th house. So there can also be, there's already this lingering energy here, or like building up of energy, that there can be very sudden, unexpected changes going on within your partnerships, within your marriage. Some of you are going to break up. Some of you need more space. Maybe your partner needs more space. Maybe they're moving in or out within the next couple of months. That is all a very big possibility here, honestly, Sagittarius. But also, this is about like mostly living arrangements and reviewing those regards. So think about leases, purchasing a home, contracts from the home that require extra time or some reassessment, because there's so much water energy. Be careful about like leaks inside of the home. Definitely when Mars jumps into the 4th house by the 3rd of March, there can be like some sudden things breaking, like pipes and leaks and flooding. That is possible whenever Mars enters the 4th. So Can also be around like Mercury retrograde and Mars conjunct during the 15th of March. But definitely it's also like purging a lot of patterns in regards to upbringing, or also looking at the effect, the upbringing of your mother and the mother role in your life, and how that's like affecting you and your identity. And the Mercury retrograde is squaring you because you're also a mutable sign. So because it happens in the fourth, it is going to have an implication on you, the first house, on other people in the seventh house, so your relationships, but also on your work and your social status. And something very publicly might be revealed from inside of the home because of the lunar eclipse that is going to happen in your 10th house soon. And that is also affecting the other angular houses in your chart. Very big important time for you, my dear Sagittarius. There's going to be a lot of changes. You might move, relocate, divorce, move in with a partner. You might relocate due to your career taking off. Maybe you get another career and you're releasing a career, and by that you can move back home. There's going to be a lot going on, Sagittarius, so you're going to need to keep me like updated on what's happening, because you're one of the signs, like having the Mercury retrograde and a fellow mutable sign at the bottom of the chart. It's going to stir a lot of things up. And with Mars in the fourth house, there can definitely be some frustrations going up in regards to the people that you live with together. So keep that in mind. Yeah, a lot of important things are going on in angular houses, Sagittarius. So yeah, let's look at what the cards are having to say for you. So a card for Sagittarius with all of the sensitive, watery, angular house energy that's going on. Cool. Okay, that is actually a better card. So it says thank you, gratitude, appreciating what's sustaining you. So what is sustaining your positive emotions? Who is looking out for you at home? Who's making sure you're being taken cared for so that you can go full force ahead in your career with the eclipse? Looking at what's sustaining you, being grateful for your mother, for everything she's done for you, for your living, or like people you live with together, how they are supporting you, your spouse, how they're actually like carrying you, how do you say it in English, how they're like supporting you, and how that can also be like a moment of gratitude coming forth from that. So yeah, focus on being thankful for people who are taking care of you and people who make you feel safe, seen, and heard in the fourth house of emotions as well. So that is very positive. Wish you good luck. We have Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising. All right, my dear Capricorn, you're going to have the Mercury retrograde going on into the third house. Okay. Warning light alert, because Mercury traditionally belongs to the third house. So it's in its own house, even though it's not in a sign that is ruled over by Mercury. No, quite the opposite. It's actually in fall here in Pisces, but still it's in its own house. So it's going to be a rather intense Mercury retrograde, or strong one. Intense is not the right word. It's going to be a strong energy. Mercury at home in its own house, it deals with contracts, messages, phone calls, emails, important conversations, technological devices, being on the road, your car. Maybe your car is going to need service. Maybe you might need to buy another phone. You're going to need to back up your pictures, your email, everything. You're gonna need to back it up. But yeah, with like having the cloud and all of that, it's probably already like stored somewhere. But still, the third house, the house of the mind, communication, contracts, siblings, transportation, your daily movement, learning new things, the media, social media, and it also rules over the sixth house, which is your health, your work, your routines, your office space, and also the ninth house, which deals with travel, higher education, legal matters, and your belief systems. So it's going to impact this whole retrograde directly how your daily life also is intertwined with your future vision from the ninth. So where are you going? How are you going to transport yourself? Literally, literally or figuratively? Is it sustainable? Just know it's not the best time to go on a travel adventure during Mercury retrograde. And for you, it's in like the house of short distance trips, road trips. If you want to do that, go to a place you've already been before, but like going somewhere new right now, that might cause a little bit of like delays or mishaps or like a little bit of confusion or frustration. But definitely you are the sign that is going to deal most with technological glitches. When I had a Mercury retrograde in my third house, I had to buy a new phone. I also got sick, and I also had to go to the garage with my car. That is like my personal dealings when I had a Mercury retrograde in this house. So of course it was in another sign, but still, Pisces is where things get dissolved. So you might dissolve your email box or your messages, and you're getting lost in your technological devices, and by that you're getting even more lost within your own headspace. And this is something you're gonna be mindful about, and that's so funny because you're not going to be able to be very mindful about that, but still, I'm just like throwing it out there. But also know that it deals with like siblings and neighbors. There can be miscommunications with them in those regards, and also with co-workers because it rules over the sixth house. Contracts, paperwork, emails, phone calls, double check, read the fine print. Do not put your signature under something that is not necessary. If it can wait, then it can wait. Break the old mental loop. And it's gonna take some effort of you guys. Pisces is definitely what's unspoken. So what you've been feeling for a very long time, especially also in relationships, can now be coming out. Make sure you do it in a compassionate way, because Mars is going to enter the third house as well. There might be some frustrating conversations going on whenever Mars joins the stellium party in Pisces on the 3rd of March. On the 2nd, excuse me, on the 3rd, we have the full moon lunar eclipse in your 9th house of beliefs. So yeah, something very big is being released of your beliefs, and also within your conscious mind. So your whole thinking process is being totally rewired here. By the end of the retrograde, you're gonna have a way more clearer vision. So do not freak out. And it also makes a trine to Jupiter in your 7th house, and other people are going to help you with clarifying things. Maybe you need your partner or your business partner or your spouse. Let them double check your emails. Let them double check your contracts before signing anything that is going to help you. But you can also find that like there's going to be like very big relational shifts also happening. Maybe your partner is going to sign an important contract. That is also a possibility here. But yeah, it's like a lot of small things are going to start to happen, and it's going to like accumulate into something big. And also watch out for your health, guys, because Mercury rules over the 6th house of health and daily routine. You might need to release some kind of like a stressing habit. You might need to release that to order for like being like beneficial that for your health. And Mercury retrograde in the 3rd is going to bring a lot of old past conversations. If you've been struggling with your health, it's going to bring up old conversations with your doctor, going back to the past, reviewing a lot of stuff, really like taking things into account. There can also be like a lot of frustration with coworkers during this time. So you might need to, find a way to switch off your mind at night, because Pisces rules over our sleep, and maybe we're going to be a little bit overthinking here for you, Capricorn, the next couple of weeks. So make sure you listen to binaural beats before you fall asleep here. There's like this ongoing thinking process and restructuring of your beliefs and your conscious mind going on. There's a lot of emphasis on that. So yeah, revisit your contracts instead of signing them, your website, your email list. There can be car repairs, technological issues, reconnecting with siblings. Definitely one younger than you can have big news here for you. And there can also be like delays in paperwork and trips and in writing, speaking. There can be like not a lot of mental clarity here for you, but just know that a lot of things will be like cleared up when the Mercury retrograde is about to end on the 20th of March. So, a card for my dear Capricorn. Immerse yourself. Training, learning, new hobbies, passions. And that is very cool because I actually didn't touch upon that. So I'm actually glad that this card is like giving me this notion, because the third house is the house of learning. So you can take a new course, you can bring up past courses from the past, and now you can finish them, you can wrap them up, you can like implement the knowledge and install it onto your hard disk, your mental drive. I like to call it like that. So yeah, training, learning, immerse yourself in like all of the new knowledge, but also the past knowledge. Like, for example, a lot of people like to read a lot of books, and it's easy to read a book, but it's about implementing the knowledge in your daily routine and putting a very big emphasis on that here during the next couple of weeks. And that is going to be your cue, or like the key into handling this energy in a very beneficial way. So immerse yourself. Good luck, my dear Gemini. Gemini, Capricorn. It's because I was talking about the third house. All right, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising, you're going to have the Mercury retrograde into your second house. And this is always a sign for me to whatever you're buying right now, keep the receipts, keep the warranty. You might do a big purchase, but it might not be working accordingly because it's in Pisces. It's lost in space. Mercury is technological devices. Whatever you buy right now might be not working correctly. So really take that into consideration here. Second house, income, possessions, personal resources, your spending habits, and how that implicates your self-esteem. So yeah, very financial Mercury retrograde. And it's really about looking back at your scarcity mindset, how that's been affecting your finances, what you can release in those regards, and how you can surrender more. Because Mercury also rules over your fifth house of creativity, dating, children, taking risks, and it also rules over your eighth house. So Aquarius, of course, you and Leo are having the most financially themed retrograde here going on. And the eighth is about intense, like shared finances, debts, investments, intimacy, taxes, energetic, emotional, psychological, sexual entanglements with other people. And it's also how your personal value system, what it like feels good enough to be able to share to other people, and vice versa. It is the give and take axis. So what do you think, Mercury, about yourself and about your own self-worth, and how are you in which position are you to share those values with other people, and what's being reciprocated by them as well? So yeah, you might need to budget a little bit more, honestly, but it's definitely also pointing towards like it's a confrontation, like a psychic confrontation with how your relationship is with like security and abundance and self-trust. So it's really about like reinstalling the abundance mindset here for you, my dear Aquarius. And that's going to be a little bit more difficult to do over the next couple of weeks. You might see that there's like an income delay, or like there's like a rescheduling going on in regards to your monthly payment, or like your stream of income is like, yeah, there's going to be some weird changes with that. This is like a very big financial review. How do you spend your money? Are you spending your money to feel to fill a void in your soul, Pisces, and restructuring and rethinking that and finding more clarity about that? Do not do any major purchases or like risky investments right now. However, you can sell things, you can declutter, really like cleanse and release. That is also Pisces. Yeah, restructure your budget in a way that really like supports your priorities here, and your priorities can change. And then Mars is going to jump into the second house as well, and that can always be connected to like, because Mars cuts and severs ties, and it can cause breaks and damages and conflict. And when it jumps in the second house, like I had it a couple of months ago, and oh my god, there were so many unexpected costs coming up. So that is something that you're gonna have to deal with. And also where money has been like leaking, maybe you need to look at all your subscriptions, and maybe you need to cancel out a few subscriptions that you do not use. And actually I need to do the same thing, honestly. There is like a lot of energy leaking away, siping away in Pisces, and you're like not consciously aware of it, and now you're going to be like confronted with that as well. There is a trine to Jupiter in your sixth house, which is actually very beneficial if you want to apply for a new job, or you want to go back to a job from the past, or like in stream of income from the past. That is all massively being like it's being like taken off the shelf, and being re-implemented in your daily routine, and that can actually help you adding a new stream of income. If you want to apply for a new job, it can also be beneficial. You need like smarter, more sustainable financial planning. That needs to be like the focus, and by that your self-worth is also going to grow. Yeah, let's see what the cards are having to say for you, my dear Aquarius. Wow, Aquarius, an eclipse in your sign, all the planets in your sign. Luckily it's only Mars right now, but Mars is going to leave your sign on the 2nd of March, and then on the 3rd of March we have a full moon lunar eclipse. Yeah. All right, let's look at a card for Aquarius. Yeah, okay. Stagnant waters, feeling stuck, a call for shifts, flow, and change. So yeah, I think a lot of you are feeling a little bit stuck in your financial situation, and Mercury retrograde is now going to give you like ample of time to really look back at where you're feeling stuck. Mostly it's feeling stuck in your own self-worth, and maybe you need to renegotiate the prices you set for yourself. Maybe you're going to need to increase them, let go of the scarcity mindset, and really work through the obstacles. And it is also like a call for shifts and flow and change, which is on the card here, and that is definitely in the cards for you during this time with the solar eclipse in your sign as well. So there's going to be so many changes, and really also look at implementing new daily habits in your daily routine that is going to be like beneficial to your self-worth. And by that, when you increase your self-worth, it's like the flow of money increases as well. It is like intertwined with one another. So if you're feeling stuck, you really need to work on that. But stagnant waters on the other side, because I can see losses going on within your second house of finances as well. And maybe stagnant waters are also saying like, oh, okay, we're going to keep it stuck so you do not lose too much as well. So it can be positively interpreted as well. So just take what resonates for your own situation and apply that. So good luck, my dear Aquarius. We have Pisces and Moon or Rising. All right, Pisces, you are the stars of today's show because Mercury is retrograde in your sign. So in your first house of self, your body, your identity, your direction, your personal expression. And I hear my cat meowing so loud here at the door. I'm going to open the door, right? So, Pisces, we have my cat Juicy. He wanted to be here for you guys. He probably wants to offer some support. So, Juicy, say hi to everyone and to the Pisces. He is like my, I'm just gonna like switch my screen. He is like my white sorcerer, my white little ball of light. And I guess he wanted to be here to support you guys. He was thinking, like, oh my God, these Pisces are going to have a Mercury retrograde in their sign. Let's just give them some hope and some white light. Isn't that right, Juicy? Could you meow in the microphone? That would be cool. All right, let's switch over to your chart now that I've introduced my sweet little baby. Oh my God, I love him so much. He is like he, he is like the man of my life. I have other men in my life, but like he is just like Juicy. You are such a sweetheart. He is such a white wizard. It is incredible. All right, Pisces. So, Mercury retrograde in your sign. It is about your identity, your direction, your personal expression, and the focus here is entirely on you. Who you are, what you think, how you present yourself. It is also about your life path. This is going to be a very big change in your identity. This is like a very big reinvention and a very big personal, intuitive, psychic Mercury retrograde here. And Mercury also rules over your fourth house of your home, your family, people that you live with together, your emotional roots, where you feel safe, seen, heard, where you belong. And it also rules over your seventh house. And the seventh house is in Virgo. It is about your relationships, your partners, marriage, your clients, other people who are very closely towards you. And we're gonna have a full moon lunar eclipse here, guys, on the 3rd of March within your seventh house. Full moon lunar eclipses, they are revelationary. They are bringing culmination, some kind of surprise. They're illuminating a lot of truth, and it is gonna be some kind of release, an emotional release here in the seventh house. So yeah, there can be like major things going on in your partner's life as well, like major shifts in your living situation, in your emotional foundation, in the dynamics within partnerships as well. People from the past can definitely also reappear because there's a Mercury retrograde in your sign and you're having a full moon lunar eclipse in your seventh house. Exes, past business partnerships, past friends also all coming back into your life to seek some kind of closure or resolution. Mercury is going to go retrograde over Venus in your first house. Your like magnetic charm, it is being enhanced. Your charisma, it is like flowing, and you can have a lot of people reacting quite strongly to it and even saying it to you, giving you confirmation in your newfound identity with Saturn and Neptune that are now out of your sign. So yeah, you're definitely changing in a very big way, and you're confronting the things that have actually been holding you back over the last 3 years. And old versions of yourself are even gonna like resurface, and you're gonna notice them like, okay, this is like a past pattern, and I'm like fully letting that go right now. Very big review of your own identity, how that affects your partnerships or how your partnerships affect you. Are you being able to be fully yourself? And also how that is being shaped by your upbringing in the fourth house. So breaking ancestral curses, patterns, really how also your mother shaped you and how your mother has an effect on your relationships and on your identity. Like, guys, it is all very closely intertwined here, and something is about to shift, and it can be very, very big for you, my dear Pisces. Very big, like integration of your new persona and releasing old identities that no longer serve you, and how that's directly tied to the people you live with together and the people you are even married to or within a long-term commitment. And with the full moon lunar eclipse in the seventh house, there might be a release of partnership coming. And by that, something changes within your home situation and within your own identity. And it's quite strong here, guys. Mars is about to enter your sign on the 2nd of March. your energy is going to be boosted massively. And at the beginning of the retrograde, there can be a little bit confusion within your identity, and you might start to question your path more deeply, and you're going to be way more sensitive to other people's opinions. But that can act like as like a catalyst, and you shedding these old skins. This is like a very big review of your personal direction. Like if you can be confused and like be pondering upon like, who am I becoming? Is this still me? Does this version of me still suit the partner I'm currently with? Is my partner changing? Is my partner releasing me? Or like some big shift can happen in your partner's life as well with the eclipse in the 7th house. But just know that your old identity, it is dissolving. And in Pisces, things must dissolve, and you might be a little bit confused and with your head in the clouds before clarity returns and before you get reborn by the end of March. The retrograde lasts until the 20th of March. So yeah, you might feel a need to withdraw and ponder about your depth of intuition and emotions, and you might want to change something, not in a drastic kind of way, but just because it just doesn't suit you anymore. Be careful about like exes returning. You do not want to get stuck in like a past pattern. That can be very karmic. People from the past, if they turn up, it's probably because they want to like unconsciously keep you stuck in the past. Be careful, guys. Open up to new things. The sun is on the north node in your sign. It is about new destined life purpose kicking in. And sometimes the dark realms like to keep us stuck in the past. There can definitely be new romantic opportunities opening up for you with Mercury conjunct Venus here in your sign. It's going to be the return of big joy for you as it trines Jupiter, the planet of protection, luck, abundance, amplifying everything. It has a very expansive nature within your 5th house of romance and joy. If you bump into new people now, that is probably destined. It is fate intertwining, and it's going to be giving you or bringing you a lot of luck and happiness. Can even be about kids with Jupiter in the 5th house and like an amplification of romantic attractiveness. Your personal charm is being highlighted. You're very attractive under these transits here, Pisces. So do not doubt yourself. Do not go out and try to save someone. These savior victim dynamics, it really needs to go. So do not fall for that. If someone tries to like spiritually bypass you as well, you're going to be easier to like navigate that whenever Mars enters your sign as well, because you're going to become more assertive. But definitely with the trine to Jupiter in your 5th house, there can also be themes of fertility and children coming up, launching a very big passion project that can bring you a lot of luck and joy. But definitely, guys, you're going to have a Mercury conjunct Venus, a Mercury Cazimi with the Sun on the 7th, a Mercury conjunct Mars on the 15th of March, and then a Mercury direct on the North Node on the 20th of March. Pisces, March is going to be such a big new start in your life. If you encounter new opportunities within your job, within your romantic life, within your living situation, this is like a whole new rebranding of your identity, and you're not going to be able to escape it. Some of you are going to want to hide their head under the sheets, like head under the blanket, and like, I'm like non-existent right now, because there's going to be a lot of change. And some of you, it might feel a little bit overwhelming, because I know my dear Pisces, you're so sensitive, and your psychic antennas, they are like through the roof, and it is strongly highlighted here. So there's going to be some increased visibility, whether you want that or not. So yeah, you're actually now in the process, in the entire month of March, you're in between worlds. It's like you're in between stages. You are actually transitioning and shedding an old identity that was there for the past 14 years. And now you're like shedding that, because it can no longer like hold your future. And your future looks very beautiful here with the trine to Jupiter and all of that. Jupiter is like massively supporting all of that. So if you fall in love, if you get a new job opportunity, if you can move in some kind of way, or maybe you fall in love and you need to change your living arrangements, all of that, even if it feels unclear right now, it's all going to be supported by the gods and by the universe. And either way, there's going to be some kind of solution coming up for you after the Mercury retrograde is about to end on the 20th of March. A new phase, a new direction, a new life path, a new relationship to yourself and to others as well. But can definitely be an heightened, intuitive, very sensitive period right now, and which you can feel a little bit lost in space. If you feel that, accept, surrender, just stare at the wall, practice daydreaming, because by daydreaming a lot, you actually draw your dreams into reality quite strongly, and there's very helpful, beneficial energy for that going on as well right now. So yeah, let's look at what the cards are having to say for you. Are you going to shuffle, Juicy? All right, so let's look at the card for Pisces, and it's the Water Oracle. It's one of my favorite decks. Very, very applicable here for the Pisces energy. So let's look. Oh my God. Yeah, that is just like, let it rain, allowing what is inevitability. Trust. Yeah. So let it rain, that always points towards something emotional happening. And with all these energies in your sign, I think allowing what is mostly points towards the full moon lunar eclipse within your 7th house. There's going to be some kind of big release for a lot of you. A lot of Pisces are definitely going to release something from their own identity, from their relationship, and letting it rain is really surrendering to what's happening, even if it's a little bit overly emotional. And then, yeah, just allowing what is and what is presenting themselves during the Mercury retrograde. It is inevitable, like it is destined. The North Node is in your sign. Whatever's going on, it is pre-planned from the universe, from the gods, and you need to trust that you're actually being taken into a better direction. And I'm gonna take a bonus card for you guys because the energy is happening in your sign, of course. And I think you guys can use a little bit of extra guidance here from the Oracle deck. So, oh, beautiful. Gentle force, consistency, patience, the long game. Yes. So yeah, be gentle with yourself and the rebranding of your whole identity, and just be consistent. If you consistently show up, like I always say, if you do your best, the gods do the rest. And that is becoming very, very obvious. But some of you are going to need to be a little bit more patient before it all like becomes clear in your head again. But it's going to be very beneficial for the long game. So yeah. All right, my dear Pisces, I wish you a lot of good luck. And if you're still here, thank you guys all so much for joining me today and for spending some time with me here. I'm going to be soon rather back. But oh my God, this Mercury retrograde is going to be such a pain in the ass for me. I have a natal Mercury in Pisces, so I knew when I saw it coming, I was like, these videos are going to be a little bit more difficult, but I'm going to be back soon with another video about the full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Virgo, because that's already happening quite soon here on the 3rd of March. And Mercury retrograde is going to be the ruler of this eclipse. Quite profound, quite interesting. That is why I also said to Pisces that there's a way bigger chance for you to have like some kind of big emotional release going on now. And I'm going to state that more clearly and talk more about that and connect all of it to the Virgo eclipse that we are seeing here soon. So yeah, thank you guys all so much for joining, and I will see you back soon. Bye-bye.